Welcome back, and let's focus on the states now. Well, there's another round of that intervention fund, however they describe it. They will have these funds. And the first time out there, it was supposed to be, because they cried out, they couldn't pay salaries. But interestingly, the ICPC said they conducted the research and found out that many of them did not even apply the funds to pay salaries. And so now we're back to this same thing. Is this a solution?
It is not a solution. Bailout has always been a deliverance. It is not the sustenance. And that's the challenge. Even in business, when you go borrow money to pay your salary of your staff on a consistent basis.
Will bank give you loan to go pay salaries in the first instance?
Well, when the fundamentals are looked at, they can give money based on receivables, they can give money based on, business trajectory and growth. However, what will a bank give a state money to loan to pay salary except for FAC account? They will always tie it to FAC account, and that it has gone to virtually God knows how much now. So that's why they're now asking extra.
I'd like you to listen to this. Part of the commentary making the rounds about this same situation. Let's take a look.
Support we had from the federal government to the central bank to borrow money from the bank was not a bailout. If you talk about bailing out, you'll be talking about grants, but in this case it was a loan. And I think the proposal right now is being misinterpreted, but I think it was corrected during the last National Economic Council meeting. It is a budget support fund to be borrowed to support the states. Everybody is aware of what is happening. Salaries are not being paid, even in Benue State we are affected. And this is meant to support our budget for the next 6 months. When we meet the conditions, we are supposed to be having additional fund of 1.3 billion naira per state, in addition to whatever will come from the federation account.
If you remove federal government allocation monthly to every state, between 85 and 90% of the states will collapse. The federal government must unbundle. The federal government has no business in agriculture. It should be a policy formulating body. There should be policy formulation at the center. So in terms of all these, what you call exclusive lists and the concurrent lists, they need to be reviewed. And that, for me, is what I call the socioeconomic restructuring of Nigeria. For instance, I'm doing mining. I'm interested in mining. I have a lot of marble. I have a lot of mineral resources. What is the federal government's business in that? What they should do is to provide an enabling environment for people to participate, to develop whatever they have in their states.
Now, if you have this kind of thinking, that's the Oyo State governor, even though Benue says it's called Budget Support Fund, but that's just plain words, if I could say that. But why is it that those kind of perspectives of the Oyo State governor is not being reflected at the national level in terms of policies?
I like this conversation. I like this conversation coming from, in quotes, the elite politician. This is what the Niger Delta people have been talking about. This thing, you cannot go and mine marble in Oyo when you will not let them mine their oil. It will not happen. Everything inside the ground is a mineral. So this conversation, we should engender it. We need to, I keep using the word recalibrate because I think that we have reached a level where the structure is not working. It's not working, at least in terms of this economy. There is no incentive for any state government or governor who goes to Abuja every month to collect money to work at home. It's called moral hazard.
But do you think the states can survive if they are allowed to?
If you restructure, they can. There is no state in Nigeria that does not have something it can work with. Listen, what do certain countries have? Anytime you put your premium on the things that are inside the ground, you lose it. Your major natural resource is not what is inside the ground, it's the people. When the people can't think out a solution, then woe are them. That's why I started by saying they need to bring in people that can think. You will resolve every problem as long as you can think.
Why
as long as people are running this economy based on what is inside the ground, you are not going to be able to manage what is on top of it. And the most critical is a human resource.
It's really, it's really good that we're getting to say this unconsciously. Everyone is getting to come to the table and say this is what it is from what the Oyo State Governor has said. Now we're talking about amendments to the Constitution.
Yes.
Is this one of the things that you would love them to put on the table? With
all due respect to the president, please, he should not archive the past conference resolutions. He shouldn't. No.
They haven't already.
No. He should. He's the one that put it there by his speech. He says archiving it. Please bring it back. This country needs. He has the inner strength to implement it. Some of them that he thinks will get us. If not, I was telling somebody that every box stops on his table. If everything that this country is going through, he is the one that feels it, should feel it most. So he can deflate some of these pressures by implementing some of these things. My take here is that the states should engage the federal government that this structure is not working. Listen, and we need to get to the place of advocacy, whether it's private sector advocacy or public sector advocacy, where you are able to engage at a level you say, well, you know what this is doing is not working. It's not working, and let's
add to that. If the states engage the center, say, look, this policy is not working, how do we also ensure that what was at the center is not then replicated in the states?
This is what you're saying is key. But when you break down the states, I'm trying to not use the word breakdown. When you devolve power,
it's federalism.
Yes, so, the management of resources to regions or environments that are able to see their problems, it is a lot easier to see the places that these resources should and will be deployed. The challenge you have in the north is perhaps in the environment is desertification. The challenge you have in the east is erosion. The challenge you have in the west, that's different. So you will now decide the police, security in environments and what investments. Let me give you an instance. Look at the automotive industry. I remember when the past administration started this thing. I remember I called a commissioner in one of the states and said, this is the time to latch in on this and invite the major automakers and give them opportunity in your state so they can become the Michigan of America. He never replied my SMS until he came out of it. I said, he's just seen the SMS. I said, very good, very good, very good. You've done well. Now that you cannot do anything, you're not seeing the SMS. And that's the point I'm talking about here. You need to do PPP. That is the way it is done. It's not just by talking. Everything has a way it is done. They need to go sit in a class, understand how it is. They need to engage people that have the resources, not just going to hire bosses and run BRT and tell me it's PPP. Lagos State has shown an example by opening up the top 4th mainland bridge, which I've been shouting since. Government doesn't need to spend their dime to do the 5th mainland bridge, the 6th mainland bridge. That's how the system opens up. You don't need to spend your money to connect the whole of from Abakaliki to Onitsha to or to Port Harcourt and put a super highway there, put a railway there. You just need to put people together and put the structures. It can be done on PPP.
And that's
and you
smart,
get your money.
thinking.
And you get your money. The guys can get the money back through ticketing for the next 20-30 years. Look at the airport you have at Murtala Mohammed Airport. Government didn't spend a dime, yet that asset is there. We are in the era where you buy services and not assets. Talking about
the airport, let's just leave that. Well, we have to thank you for coming out this morning. Pascal Udigbo is country director for Jeff and O'Brien. Well, that's how far we can go today on the program. We appreciate your comments as well. Yes, and we will be back tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Osol.
I'm Neil Tagwe. Thank you for watching.
Many thanks. I'm Sulaiman. Later, see you again.